Hopefully you guys aren't tired of me making these Prismatic Evolutions themed videos, because honestly, I'm not tired of talking about Prismatic Evolutions. I could talk about this set forever because there's a lot of things to talk about. Recently, I have been buying Prismatic Evolutions products, so yes, I've been more in the mood to actually talk about this set, but also recently Prismatic Evolutions prices have been going up. If you've been paying attention, the products have started to rebound. So Prismatic Evolutions is sort of a hot topic, and I want to keep talking about this set until I get tired of it. But today I do have a little bit of an interesting video to talk about with Prismatic Evolutions, and I have a theory about this set. I don't know if it's a crazy theory, maybe it's logical, maybe I don't know. But I believe that Pokemon purposely wanted to make Prismatic Evolutions expensive. That they wanted something like this to happen. Maybe not to this extent with how expensive things are, but they wanted it to be expensive. They didn't want it to be just a generic set, comes out the gate cheap, nobody cares about it. Like, they didn't want to do that with this set. I think it's pretty obvious about, the cards in the set, but I want to just give my reasonings and just my thoughts about why I believe this is true. So, the first thing is that they made this exclusively an Eevee themed set. If you look back in the past, name me one set that has been, that's revolved around evolutions that performed extremely well. I'll give you a hint. It's very recent. It's from the Sword and Shield era. Can you guess it? Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies pretty heavily revolved around evolutions. Yes, it had some other cards that were expensive too, but mainly it was the evolutions that made Evolving Skies the way it is. It had a ton of evolution cards. It didn't have all evolutions, right? But it had a lot of them. So I think Pokemon saw that success with a heavily evolution themed set, and they decided to, in this era, make pretty exclusively evolution themed set. This set literally revolves pretty much exclusively around, evolutions. It has all of them. Every single product has evolutions on there. The promos of these products, like the poster collections, and all these other stuff that's coming out in the future, it's all evolutions. So it was pretty obvious that this is an evolution themed set. So just that alone, I feel like Pokemon knew this was going to be like this, and they wanted to make a set with evolutions because they know how much people like evolutions. So that's just the first reason, okay? That they just made this set revolve around just evolutions exclusively. Now, the next one, and I feel like this is a major one that so many people, I feel like, don't catch on to, like, why, like, Pokemon, theoretically, made this set super expensive. I feel like it is obvious, but I'm going to point it out. I've talked about it before, but I haven't mentioned it in a while. So, I'm going to do Control F here. I'm going to find, this, and look at this. Special. I typed in special here just to see how many special illustration rares there are in the set. If you didn't know, there's 32. There's 32 special illustration rares in this set. I can go all the way down. You can see these are all special illustration rares, all 32 of them, okay? So, with there being 32 special illustration rares, right, pull rates aren't going to be great, right? To pull the exact one you want, all those sorts of things with math and stuff, it's not going to be easy, okay? And in addition to this, with all these 32 special illustration rares, there are no normal illustration rares. And in the past, illustration rares, the pull rates, I think it's really ranged with sets, but it could range anywhere from, I think, 1 out of 15, 1 out of 20 packs, something around that, right? And that was always like a good hit, like a good secondary hit to special illustration rares because, special illustration rares were always the hardest one to hit. But then you also had illustration rares that would be, in the reverse slot and just be that secondary hit to get something, to feel like you got something. And a lot of those illustration rares, ended up actually being pretty valuable. We've seen some illustration rares like the Groudon. We've seen, the Magikarp. Some illustration rares can do extremely well because the illustration rares are really great even though they're not special illustration rares. But this set, there's no illustration rares. It's just special illustration rares, and 32 of them. I think right then and there, I think it's pretty clear, in my opinion, that Pokemon wanted this to be an expensive set. You think Pokemon didn't purposely put 32 SIRs in this set and have no illustration rares? Like, are we being for real? Pokemon, if they wanted to, they could have made some of these cards normal illustration rares to make them easier hits. But did they do that? No. And you could say maybe just, I guess, as a secondary hit, you could have said, oh, maybe Master Balls are secondary hits. But based on what we're seeing with people's reactions, Master Balls, Pokeballs, these things aren't exactly replacements for illustration rares, but they are another hit. But if you think about it that way, it is pretty obvious in my opinion that Pokemon did this on purpose, that they didn't add illustration rares to the set, because they easily could have made maybe 12 to 16 SIRs in the set. I mean, I think Surging Sparks has like 12 or 13. They could have done something like that and made the rest of the cards illustration rares. They didn't have to make 32, but they did it. Why did they do it? Because maybe they wanted to purposely make a set hard to pull everything. I feel like this is pretty common sense stuff, right? But maybe some people haven't thought about it this way. But I think Pokemon wanted this to be hard to master. They wanted everything about this set to be exclusive and just overall expensive. And think about all these other things too. Other than there being 32 SARs, think about all these other factors in this set. You have God packs. When have we seen God packs? We have demigod packs. We have Pokeballs, Master Ball. We have all these things in this one set. Why did Pokemon do this on an evolution set? They wanted it to be expensive. I feel like it's pretty obvious. Maybe you guys understand where I'm coming from. Maybe I'm crazy. But I feel like all these factors alone, like Pokemon knew this was going to happen to some extent. They knew this was going to be expensive. They wanted it to be like this. And we even go further and just look at pull rates. The pull rates in this set, if you actually look at the pull rates for SARs based on this, it's not actually that bad. Surging Sparks pull rates for SARs, I believe, is 1 out of 72 packs or something like that. So the pull rates for SARs aren't extremely bad like people make it out to be, but it's just that people are picky with what SAR they want. And with this set having 32 SARs, it is pretty hard to pull your specific SAR because there's so many. But other than that, the pull rates for SARs, it's not that bad. It's a little bit harder than 151, sure, but it's not terrible. So, yeah, I mean, Pokemon could have easily, like I said, put illustration rares in here to have a secondary hit, but they didn't. There's Master Balls, I guess you could say, are pretty much similar pull rates to just illustration rares. But, I mean, I've seen from a lot of people's reactions online, people still want illustration rares, but Pokemon wanted there to be 32 SIRs. And it's that simple. And I know a lot of people, always complain about prices, and it's all the scalper's fault, it's all the store's fault, it's all everyone's fault, right? But you gotta understand that Pokemon, to some extent, like, they're doing all this on purpose, okay? This is a business, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize that because we live in I guess in this Pokemon world, it's all rainbows, fairy tales, and we shouldn't care about value. But Pokemon is running a business, okay? They want their stuff to be worth something. They want to have a brand. I don't think this company, Pokemon, wants to be known to have cheap, easy to pull cards worth nothing. What card game thrives on cheap $2 cards? I can't think of anyone, right? So Pokemon, I think, with this set, wanted to make something special, wanted to make a very hyped up set, and they did an extremely good job at it. And I feel like people don't understand that Pokemon, like, wanted this to happen. They wanted, there to be craze for the set, and they wanted it to be, like this, because they could have done so many things to make this not as bad. They could have made pull rates super easy. They could have made this like 151. Pull rates for 151 is not hard, right? They could have made this like Crown Zenith. Did they do any of that? No. Because Pokemon is a business, and they wanted this to be hyped up. They wanted it to go crazy, and it worked out. Now, obviously, for some people, they don't agree with this. They think all cards should be easy to pull, it should be cheap, everything like that. Well, I don't think Pokemon, honestly, I don't think they think that, because they're a business, and they know how to make a card game thrive, not based on just everything easy to pull, no value. That's not how things work. I know if you're a collector, you don't care about that stuff. You just want cheap cards for yourself. And I understand if you come from that perspective, but Pokemon, they're trying to make money. And how do you make money? By not making everything super easy, readily available, by not printing things into the ground, which is a thing that I'm going to probably talk about in another video, that everybody is saying is going to happen with this set. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about with my theory here, with why I think Pokemon purposely wanted to make Prismatic Evolutions expensive. There's so many things where I feel like it's so obvious why they made it like this, having 32 SARs, no illustration rares, having an evolution themed set. I think it's, I mean, in the pull rates you could say are technically hard because there's so many SIRs. I think it's pretty clear as day here, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm taking this the wrong way. I don't know. But I wanted to just give my opinion about this because I just feel like a lot of the people out there that are complaining about prices of products and stuff, they don't understand that Pokemon wanted this to happen. And I know Pokemon made that statement with how they're gonna print it to demand and stuff. It's a meme. That post is a meme. And people who know. But people who want to, hold on to the string of hope, hopefully they do print into the ground. Hopefully they do keep their word or whatever. But I think Pokemon knows what they're doing. They're a business. And I think from this set alone and how they created and curated this set, I don't think Pokemon's going to do what people think they're going to do with Prismatic, with the printing stuff. But no, I'm going to save that for another video. But that's all I want to talk about today. Let me know down in the comments what you think about my theory. Do you think it's crazy or do you agree with me? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.